Alright, so today we're diving into 4 stories that have genuinely kept investigators, families, and true crime obsessives up at night. These aren't your typical mysteries. These are the kind that make you sit back and go wait. What? So get comfortable because things are about to get weird. So here's something that'll mess with you. Every single year in Canada, somewhere between 70 and 80,000 people go missing. That's a crazy number. Most of them, about 85%, turn up within a week or two. But the ones who don't, those cases tend to go cold fast, and the answers basically disappear with them. That's why the story of Lucien Johnson is so different from anything you've probably heard before. Lucy lived in Surrey, British Columbia. She was originally from Alaska, a bit of a free spirit, someone who never really stayed in one place too long. Eventually she settled down, met a man named Marvin, married him in 1954, and the two of them had a couple of kids, Linda and Daniel. From the outside, totally normal family, happy even, until you look a little closer. Because on May 14, 1965, Marvin walks into a police station and reports his wife missing. Detectives start digging, and pretty quickly something feels off. Not just because she's missing, but because of when she was last seen. The last confirmed sighting of Lucy, a neighbor spotted her back in September of 1961. That's nearly 4 years before anyone bothered to report her gone. Naturally, suspicion fell on Marvin. Police literally dug up the family's yard looking for evidence of something terrible. They found nothing. Marvin was never charged. And just like that, the case went cold. For over 50 years, Lucy's daughter Linda never stopped looking. She worked with the RCMP, got her mom featured in their missing persons series, put pleas in local newspapers across northern BC and the Yukon, because she knew her mom had once lived in a small town called Carcross up there. And then in 2013, everything changed. A woman named Rhonda, living in Whitehorse, saw Linda's search and called the police. She told them that Lucy Johnson was her mother too. Investigators confirmed it. Lucy was alive. When Linda flew out to meet her, Lucy recognized her daughter the second she stepped off the plane. And when Linda finally got the chance to ask, "Why did you leave us?" Lucy said Marvin had been abusive, that he cheated on her, that she tried to take her kids when she left, but Marvin refused to let them go. So she had to make an impossible choice just to survive. Linda says she's not 100% sure what to believe, but she is sure of one thing: her mom is alive, she's well, and they talk several times a week now. Lucy is 88 years old, and they're making up for lost time. Okay, buckle up for this one, because this story sounds like something out of a movie, except it's completely real. It was all caught on camera, and it only gets darker the deeper you go. August 23, 2003. Erie, Pennsylvania. A man walks into a bank with a metal collar locked around his neck. He hands the teller a note demanding $250,000 in the next 15 minutes. The teller can't pull that kind of money that fast, but she hands him $8,700. He takes it, walks out, gets in his car, and drives maybe a few blocks before just stopping. Police find him standing in a parking lot, barely even trying to run. They cuff him, put him on the ground, and that's when the man tells them the collar around his neck is a bomb. And it's on a timer. And unless he completes some kind of scavenger hunt to find the keys and codes to unlock it, it's going off. The bomb squad gets called. They're racing to get there. But before they even arrive, the collar starts beeping. The man, whose name was Brian Wells, scoots backward on the pavement trying to get away from it. There's nowhere to go. The device explodes, blows a 5-inch hole through his chest. Brian Wells takes his last breath right there on the ground while cameras are rolling. Now, Here's where the story goes from horrifying to deeply disturbing. The bomb itself was this insane contraption. A triple-banded metal collar with 4 keyholes, a combination lock, pipe bombs loaded with smokeless powder, multiple timers, and a web of wires that turned out to connect to absolutely nothing. Just there to confuse anyone trying to disarm it. The collar snapped shut like a handcuff. There was no getting it off without the right keys. Police found a homemade cane gun near his car, along with handwritten notes laying out exactly what Brian was supposed to do. Rob the bank, follow the clues, unlock the collar. He'd found the first clue, but getting arrested stopped him from reaching the second. So investigators followed the trail themselves, and when they got to where the third clue should have been, the jar was empty. Someone had been watching the whole time, and they pulled the clue before police could get to it. About a month later, a 59-year-old handyman named Bill Rothstein calls 911 and casually tells police there's a body in his freezer. He says his ex-girlfriend Marjorie Armstrong killed the man, a guy named James Roden, and he helped hide the body. Marjorie gets arrested. She's already known to police as someone with a very suspicious history involving dead boyfriends. At first, nobody links her to the Wells case, until she starts talking. She says Roden's murder had everything to do with Brian Wells. In exchange for a lighter sentence, she starts pointing fingers, mostly at Rothstein. But by then, Rothstein is dead from cancer. Then a crack dealer named Kenneth Barnes gets pulled into it. He says Marjorie was the mastermind. But he also drops a bombshell. Brian Wells wasn't just some innocent victim. He was in on the plan. He just thought the bomb was fake. According to Barnes, someone switched it out for a real one without telling him. Brian Wells died thinking he was going to walk away from this. In 2018, a woman named Jessica Hoopsick came forward and admitted she was the one who recommended Wells to Barnes as someone they could use, in exchange for money and drugs. Marjorie Armstrong was convicted and sentenced to life. Barnes got 45 years. And the case is still full of holes. Retired FBI profiler Jim Fisher has said the real mastermind's profile fits Rothstein far better than Marjorie. But Rothstein never faced a single day in court, and we may never know the full truth. December 1946, Bennington, Vermont. While most students headed home for Christmas break, 18-year-old Paula Jean Weldon decided to stay on campus at Bennington College. On December 1st, she worked her breakfast and lunch shifts at the dining hall, went back to her dorm, studied for a bit, and then told her roommate she was heading out for a hike on the Long Trail, a massive hiking route that runs through the mountains near campus. She left at 2:30 in the afternoon wearing a red parka, blue jeans, and not much else, way underdressed for the cold. People saw her hitchhiking from campus. The driver who picked her up said she was heading to the trail off Route 9, near Glastonbury Mountain. Other hikers spotted her on the trail. Around 4 p.m., she stopped to ask a man how long the trail went. He told her it stretched all the way to Canada. By 5 p.m., the sun had set. Snow started falling a few hours later. The next morning, her roommate woke up and Paula Jean still wasn't back. Authorities were called. A massive search was launched. And here's the part that sticks with people. A middle-aged couple came forward and said they'd been walking behind Paula Jean on the trail, about 100 yards back. They could see her clearly up ahead. She rounded a rocky outcropping, and when they got to that same corner just moments later, she was gone. No footprints, no sign of struggle, no trail leading off into the woods. Just gone. The search went on for weeks. No body, no clues, nothing. What makes this case genuinely chilling is that Paula Jean wasn't the only one. Going back to November 1945, a 74-year-old experienced hunter named Mitty Rivers disappeared on that same stretch of trail near Route 9. He'd gotten ahead of his group and was never seen again. Then in 1950, An 8-year-old boy named Paul Jepson vanished while his mother was tending to farm animals just nearby. Gone in minutes. 16 days later, Frida Langer disappeared while hiking with her cousin. She fell in a stream, told her cousin to wait, and headed back to camp to change. She never arrived. Her body wasn't found until a year later, in an area that had already been searched thoroughly. The cause of death couldn't be determined. And then there was the one that really messes with your head. A man named Mr. Tetford who disappeared in 1949 while sitting on a crowded bus. 14 other passengers confirmed he was there. When the bus reached its stop, his seat was empty. His bags were still in the rack above. A bus schedule was open on his seat. He was just not there anymore. No one has ever explained what happened to any of these people. Paula Jean's father was so devastated that he personally helped push for the creation of the Vermont State Police, which didn't exist at the time of his daughter's disappearance. To this day, nobody knows what happened on that mountain. That's what makes this stuff so addictive. Some questions just don't get resolved, and you're left sitting with them. If any of these got under your skin, drop it in the comments. I'd love to know which one messed with you the most. I'm Andrew, thanks for watching. If you're new here, hit subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from. See you in the next one.